We are back with another episode of the Travel Royally podcast. Today we have Mr. Ashley Pheasant. Ashley is the head of golf for Darwin Escapes, and they own and operate 3 courses in the UK. One being Dundonald, who has a lot of history with World War I and World War II. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Travel Royally podcast. Today, we're very excited to have with us Ashley Pheasant from Dundonald. I want to tell you a little bit about Dundonald because it's an interesting history. Excuse me. In 1911, former Open champion Willie Fernie, who played out of Royal Troon, which is near Dundonald, laid out a course that was as common then, was used for military exercises in both of the world wars. Now, the course came back after the First World War, and it really thrived during the 20s and 30s. But then during World War II, excessive damage was done, and the course never came back. In 2003, Dundonald Links hired Kyle Phillips to design a modern links, but it has an ancient feel. And the new course opened in 2005, and I would say it opened with rave reviews. In 2020, lodging was added, the course was updated, and we're going to learn more about that today. So, as I said a moment ago, we're very excited to have Ashley Pheasant. He's the head of golf for Darwin Escapes, and they own and operate 3 courses in the UK. The first one is Kilnwick, Percy Resort and Golf Club in Yorkshire. The second is the Springs Resort and Golf Club in Oxfordshire. And then finally, Dundonald Links, which is in Ayrshire. It's near Troon and Prestwick and some other wonderful courses. So, Ashley, welcome to the Travel Royally podcast.
Good afternoon, Jeff. Great to be on.
We're very excited to have you. And, I've heard so many great things about Dundonald Links, and I'm really excited to get into it. But I want to talk with you first a little bit about you. How did you come to golf in the first place?
I came to golf probably when I was age 10. My brother was a PGA professional at a local golf club to where I lived. So kind of got into golf through him, got my handicap, played in all the junior competitions, represented my kind of junior union and county, developed to get to single figure digits in handicap, and then kind of got working in golf the day after that I left school. So no college or university. It was finished school on the last day, and the following morning I got a job in a local pro shop near Hull, a golf course called Brough Golf Club, working for a well-respected golf professional called Gordon Townhill. So that was my kind of early history and memories of being a little junior at the golf club with my brother to finally getting my first job in a golf club as literally a golf shop assistant.
Yeah, but you went on to become a professional, a club professional as well, correct?
Yeah, so I turned pro when I was 19, 20, and moved from Brough Golf Club to work with my brother at a local driving range, which was 20 bay driving range and a real nice short par 3 course, 9 holes, which was very much for the beginner, for families, for juniors, and it had quite a busy driving range where my brother was delivering the lessons. So I worked there with him for 2 or 3 years, and then we got approached to go to a golf club which had just been purchased by 3 business guys who were personal friends of the family. So my brother went in as the head professional director of golf. I followed him to be assistant professional, and eventually as the golf club kind of prospered, which is now Kilnwick Percy Resort and Golf Club. I'll come on to that in a minute. My brother moved on to be director of a golf in Hull Golf Club, and I kind of took over the reins. So I started then as head professional, then moved on to be director of golf. Then there were some changes in management above me, so I became assistant general manager. and then general manager of the golf club, which was quite busy because it had 28 hotel rooms, 27 self-catering lodges, and it was a wedding venue as well as a golf course with a gym. So that was quite full on. And then eventually in 2017, Darwin Escapes actually came in and purchased that golf club. And that was their first kind of venture into acquiring golf courses, with the main emphasis that they had accommodation on site, or in time when they bought the next couple of golf clubs, there was the potential to put accommodation on site, which is what Darwin specialise in. And I was quite lucky the first time that I met the directors of Darwin Escapes. Managing director said to me, "We understand you're the general manager of Killick Percy. We know golf's your background. We are going to buy more golf courses, and would you like to kind of start the journey with us and be our head of golf?" And kind of from there, that's where my career has been with Darwin. They quickly purchased a golf club down in Oxfordshire, which is now the Springs Resort and Golf Club. That was a Brian Huggett original design golf course. And when we purchased it, pretty quickly, we embarked on a course enhancement, if you like, with a well-known architect called Tim Lobb. He's done quite a lot of work in the UK, a lot of work in Turkey. I think he's just opened up some offices in Canada. So a really good architect who we got on board to do an enhancement, and then eventually we got a planning permission for on-site accommodation with also some boutique hotel suites as we developed the hotel, which was already on site. So that was the Springs kind of up and rolling and going. I then got a phone call from my CEO to say we've just kind of had details of another golf club across the desk. What do you know about Dundonald Links? And I said, well, first of all, I know it from having the Men's Scottish Open in 2017, and I can remember the 3-wood that Rafa Cabrera Bello hit into the last. Some friends of mine had been on a trip there. And I said, I also am fully aware that it's not got a clubhouse, which is quite different for such a good golf course and known golf course to not have
a proper
good clubhouse on site.
Yeah.
And when I say good clubhouse on site, I went and met him up there and met with Ian Ferguson, who was the GM at the time, and it was a porter cabin. That was the clubhouse. And I must admit, it was a nice porter cabin, as porter cabin goes. But the plan was the master plan: build a new clubhouse. We know the quality of the golf course that we've got. All that's missing is a clubhouse and hopefully some accommodation. And that was what, 2018, 19, 2020 we broke ground, and November 21 we opened up the site full, which was all singing, all dancing clubhouse, 22 hotel rooms, and 18 self-catering lodges.
Well, I'll tell you what, first of all, I would say, based on your experience, you could be uniquely qualified to have that role at Dundonald, correct? But I think the other thing that was really smart is that I think most people who do what I do believe that there aren't enough good accommodations in Western Scotland for golfers. And so, what you shared when we met face to face 2 weeks ago was really exciting to me. So I want to learn more about that. But tell us more about Dundonald Links as a golf course. I want to come back to the accommodations in the clubhouse, but tell us about the course itself. You can see it behind me.
Yeah, so if I go from behind you, Dundonald Links is a golf course. Kyle Phillips has kind of put his stamp on this place. You see everything from the clubhouse, so you can see visually parts of every hole from the clubhouse balcony, which was part of the design and location of the clubhouse. It's well playable for any golfer. That's number one. So it's not one of those golf courses where you're going to kind of get beat up before you tee off. So it's well playable. In summer, don't get me wrong, we can get the rough up and some of the gorse is kind of out, and if you're offline, you will get punished. But the surfaces and the conditioning is second to none. We've got an unbelievable head greenkeeper in Rob and Frank Clarkson, who is now our group course superintendent. They've kind of worked hard on the surfaces and the conditioning, and 12-month round course in great condition. Winter, interestingly, is a very, very busy time for us with the local market or the UK market, because we're very dry. And we have no winter greens or winter mats in use. It's a very busy site when some of the central Scotland golf courses get closed. And when you look over to different parts of the golf course, just behind your head on the picture there, you've got some quality right around us, kind of bordering onto us in Western Gales, just over the railway line. Down to the left-hand side here, you've got Kilmarnock Brassey. And then you can just see in the distance, that's Glasgow Gales in the distance. So we're kind of in the mecca of Ayrshire golf. Not too far away, you can see Troon and Prestwick, and you can see the Ailsa Craig, which is obviously Turnberry. But from a golf course point of view, interesting undulations on fairways. There's some quirky greens on the golf course, which I think Kyle likes to put on his golf courses, such as, I don't know, Kings Barnes, to name one, and then obviously Bernardus in Holland. So there's some Kyle Phillips quirks. There's some unbelievable bunkers in different spots, well positioned, and the golf course, depending on the wind, is a great test.
Well, you mentioned Kings Barnes. That was it's one of two courses that he's designed in Scotland, and obviously they have the Dunhill Links Championship there, and they've had the Scottish Open at Dundonald Links, and so I've loved watching tournaments at Dundonald. The Women's Scottish Open was there, wasn't it?
So events-wise, the Women's Scottish Open was actually there in 2015, 16, and 17. 2017 was also the same year that we had the Men's Scottish Open, and all that was obviously before the development, which again kind of pays testament to the quality of the golf course, that the kind of off course at that time, there wasn't anything, but the golf course stood up to holding Scotland's main championship in the Men's Scottish, apart from when the Open's in town, and the Women's Scottish Open for 3 years on the trot. And then most recently, 2022, we had the Women's Scottish Open again. And then earlier on this year, we had the Women's Scottish Open again, which was won by Celine Boutier off the back of a win at the Evian. And obviously then went on to be successful in the Solheim. But the field was...
And then she won again like 2 weeks ago.
She won again, yeah. So she...
I think she's number one in the world, or... She's certainly at the top of her game at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And then going back to competitions, we're a final open qualifying venue, which we kind of started this year, and we've got final open qualifying through to 2026.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I know that you had a very famous visitor in Michael Block, who could have played anywhere, and he chose to attempt to qualify at Dundonald Links because of everything that he read and saw in video about the quality of the course. And he raves about the experience that he had. He loves he loves Dundonald Links. He loves staying at Dundonald. And what a year he's had. But you must be very pleased with his reports from Dundonald.
It was a great story. I may have told you this when we met a couple of weeks ago, but I was driving home from Dundonald after being there for a couple of days working, And I got a text message off a friend of mine who's a golf pro saying, "Do you know you've got playing in final open qualifying?" And I said, "No, I imagine we'll potentially get some live golfers. And with it being final open qualifying, there'll probably be a few high profile names who'll be in the field." He says, "Yeah, I've just been listening to a podcast and it looks like you've got Michael Block." Now, this was a couple of days after his big week at the USPGA. So this was fresh after the unbelievable finish that he had, the hole in one with Rory, and he's now on a podcast telling everybody that he's looking forward to going over to this place called Dundonald Links. So I've kind of cut the call short with my friend and stopped in a lay-bar. I may even have been on a train. I think I kind of got onto the train Wi-Fi and checked the booking system because he said he was staying. Now, obviously, you don't look too much into everybody who you get staying, and I just thought I'll look around open qualifying time and have a look at the surnames that are booked into the system, and there it was, Block. So kind of went into the booking and read the notes, and Michael had rung up the office off his own back, and when he booked it, it was just probably locally a well-known PGA club professional, and he said, "Look, I'm Michael Block. I'm a PGA club professional. I'm coming over to play in the Open qualifier. I'm bringing my friend, who's going to be my caddy. Please, can I book a room?" Which we did, and we took a deposit, and it was just another booking. And then I'm like onto my boss and the reservations team saying, this actually is. So this is quite big news for us. I'm going to give him a call just to introduce myself, and got his telephone number, and I rang him and he answered. And the relationship for me and him started there. And when you come, we'll get you from the airport. We'll transport you to Dundonald. We'll put you into a lodge rather than a room. Come and enjoy it. Play as much golf as you like in kind of advance of the event, and fingers crossed you do well.
Yeah.
So we did, and I arrived up at Dundonald for the event, and he was out in Prestwick. I think he'd played Turnberry with some friends, and then I think he'd played Prestwick.
He did, because our driver Robbie ran into him.
Right. Okay.
Because Robbie was dropping off a group, and he runs into him and talked to him for a minute, and because he rang me up and said, "Hey, you won't believe who I ran into today." But go ahead. Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so I think I got to Dundonald at about 9:30 in the evening, and I rang him and said, "Michael, are you around?" He went, "Oh, we're at a pub in Prestwick." So I'm like, "Wow, okay, come and meet me." So kind of got in my car, drove to
whoa.
this pub.
Whoa. An Englishman who's willing to go to a pub at 9:30, how rare is that?
And there he was at the bar, having a drink. But obviously with him, not a lot of people knew who he was. So he could it was just another American in the pub having a beer. So that was that. We had a chat, and I was quite obviously, God, I'm with this guy in a pub and can't believe what he's just done on the PGA Tour. And the story was just incredible. And I walked around with him for his first round and his second round, and spent a bit of time with him, had a bit of dinner with him, and some kids actually tracked his flight, and he arrived into Edinburgh. So they tracked the flight that he was on, and they met him at Dundonald.
Holy cow.
And to be fair, it was unbelievable. The walk around 18 holes with him, he gave him the gloves, gave him the balls, watched him hit a few shots, and they had an unbelievable experience. And anything we asked of him, he went over and above and beyond for us. I think the golf course, the conditions didn't work in his favour. It was quite wet and windy, but I'm pretty sure that he'll be back again this year, or 2024, and hopefully we can qualify him and get into the Open, obviously, at Troon.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I mean, his story is almost unbelievable, right? I mean, although in Southern California in the PGA section there, he's extremely successful. He's a prolific winner, among club professionals, and but to finish, inside the top 10 at the PGA of, in the US is magic.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to watch him next year. So,
I
hey,
think you
one
want
of
to be
the
watching and keeping an eye out for his son.
oh, really? His son's quite good.
Yeah, looks very good from what I've seen, and yeah, the videos I've seen on him on YouTube and Instagram, he looks to be a great talent.
Yeah, that's great. Well, behind me, everyone can see Dundonald links, and you mentioned in the background you can see. I guess if you had binoculars, or you'd be able to see Glasgow Gales. But tell people where Dundonald links is located in relation to the map of Scotland, if you will.
Yeah, so we are southwest of Glasgow, on the west coast of Scotland, about 35, 40 minutes drive from Glasgow Airport. We're next to a town called Irvine, and just south of us, literally 5 to 10 minutes, you've got the town of Troon, slightly further, Prestwick. And then
Those are south of you or north of you?
they're south of Dundonald.
Okay.
Glasgow's obviously north. A little bit further down, half an hour's drive, you've got Turnberry. And about 15 to 20 minutes away, you've got the town of Ayr. And then obviously you got Prestwick International Airport as well. So yeah, that's where we are, and we're literally a stone's throw from the golf course I've just mentioned.
Well, I think what's interesting, I think a lot of people are unaware of all the great golf that's around Western Scotland. So you mentioned Turnberry, they've got 2 courses, and their second course is getting great reviews after being redone. The changes that they made there about 5 years ago have been very well received. You got Prestwick, you've got Royal Troon, you've got Glasgow Gales, Western Gales, you've got Dundonald Links, you've got Prestwick St. Nicholas, you've got, by ferry, not too far away, you've got Machrihanish Dunes, Dunaverty. I mean, you could stay there in the lodges at Dundonald and for 2 weeks and not run out of places to play and play world-class links golf.
Yeah, you've got the Isle of Arran, which you can see from the clubhouse.
Shishkin, yeah.
Yeah. And then you've just got to get back up to, if you want to fly over, you can go back up to Glasgow and then get the little plane over to Islay to play the Macri. And then potentially if you want to play Ardfin.
Yeah, it's an amazing place for golf, Western Scotland, and you're on a stretch of just some of the most amazing links land in Scotland, from that stretches from Turnberry up past where you are. So it's fantastic. Now, one of the things I find interesting is that, well, first of all, you got a lot to be proud of with everything that's been going on recently, the changes that you guys have made, all the major events or professional events that you've had. You're ranked 30th in Scotland. It's in the top 100 of all the courses in Great Britain and Ireland. And when you think about that, that's quite a list, right? I mean, to be on that list at all is amazing. So from your perspective, tell us what makes Dundonald so special.
The big thing for me now, since we've kind of completed our development, is it's the experience from when you get to the front doors of the clubhouse. So the concierge team, to start off with, the products and the apparel that you find in the golf shop, to the experience in the locker room where you can maybe get a steam and a sauna before or and after your game of golf, and that's in the ladies' changing room as well. If you want to, it's not very often a place that I frequent, but the gym downstairs is quite popular. And then just to take it that bit further before you play your golf, great food in the Canicro restaurant upstairs, great offering of whiskies. Go out and enjoy the golf course. Make sure you take advantage of the bothy after 9 holes, where we've got some great pies and macaroni pies, or if it's summer, you can have an ice cream. Maybe have a little dram or a bottle of beer. Then go smash up the back 9 and come in and enjoy some great food, some great wine, and maybe take on a few more whiskies.
What are you doing
more do you
this
want?
afternoon? What are we waiting on? Holy cow. Now, see, before we went on the air, we talked about how we try to provide unique experiences to our clients. And that's the exact kind of experience that American visitors want when they visit Scotland. And they get a true unique experience, but with some amenities that they won't find elsewhere. And so I think you guys are doing a wonderful job. Now, when we were together, you showed some photographs, and it was intriguing because around the lodges, you've got putting greens and short game facility. Can you talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, so the 18 lodges are split into 3 clusters of 6 lodges, and each cluster is of the same makeup. So you've got 1 6-bedroom lodge, 1 4-bedroom lodge, and 4 2-bedroom lodges. And when you come out of any of those lodges' patio doors, you've got a private putting green, which Kyle individually designed, all 3 of them, all different as well. So before your game, if you want to go out and have a little bit of putting and chipping practice, they're exactly the same speed as the greens on the golf course. The aprons are exactly the same as what you'll find on the golf course. You'll get all different kind of lies to play a flop shot or a chip and run. We can mark out around the holes. If it's families, you can do some putting games towards the holes and kind of have some nearest the flags. And the best thing is, and we experienced it when Michael Block was over, tea time, early evening, you've been for a bite to eat, maybe get on the putting green and have a little side bet between the guys or the girls and play, have a beer in hand, get the cigars out and have a bit of fun and banter. And it's great when you see the lodges actually intermingling with each other's lodges.
Yeah.
So you might have a group of 8 in one lodge having a competition against the group of 8 in the lodge next door. So yeah, it's quite fun.
So the course, though, is laid out in 2 loops of 9 that start and end at the clubhouse. So you could go out for an evening 9,
Yeah,
staying there at the lodge.
around the clubhouse, you've obviously got the first tee, the 9th green, the 10th tee, and the 18th green. But there's little loops on there as well. So you could play the first 4. You could kind of play 10, 11, 12, 13, 9 if you wanted. So it's all positioned well to do a few holes, 9 holes or 18. And then you're a stone's throw away from your kind of bed, if you like, or the bar to have a beer and a bite to eat afterwards in the clubhouse.
Now, do you have members, or is it?
We have corporate members. So we offer corporate memberships, and we have a relationship with Loch Lomond Golf Club, who get playing rights with us throughout the year.
Okay.
So it's mainly green fees, pay and play, which is the model, really.
Yeah. So obviously our market is North American golfers who want to play links golf. Most of them are coming for the first time. Most of our clients are coming for the first time. So what can they expect at Dundonald?
A warm welcome, an unbelievable, comfortable bed and accommodation, a fantastic shower. I'm a shower person, and the showers in the accommodation are ridiculously good.
Yeah.
Great food, an unbelievable golf course, and a great base to go and enjoy the golf courses that we have on our doorstep.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the shower, and I think some people go, who cares about the shower? But if it's cold out, if your back hurts, if you're tired. The showers that I've experienced in Scotland, and I've seen someone rank golf club showers, right? Like, what are the top 10? The best I've seen is at Royal St. George's. Have you played there and experienced their shower?
Yes, I have, but I haven't experienced the shower.
Oh my God. That was like a religious experience. I didn't want to leave. That's half the reason I'd want to be a member there. I mean, the golf is fine, the lunch is amazing, and the showers are truly great as well.
I think the best one bar Dundonald was King's Barnes for me. And that we only played 9 holes, we got rained off. And it was that cold and that wet. The shower there, I remember being brilliant. And I'm pretty sure at King's Barnes, there's little windows in the showers where you can actually see out onto the golf course.
Yeah, you're right.
Cool.
You're right.
But the most fun shower I probably had was a couple of weeks ago up at St Andrews. I was fighting with the shower there. Good shower when it came on. It's just I think there was 3 showers, which was great because you had water firing from everywhere.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I know
good.
exactly what you're
Very
talking
good.
about because we stayed at the same place. We can't name it, but to tell you how confusing it was, and I know you saw this, they literally have an instruction manual on the handle. You're like, your shower should be pretty easy to operate. You shouldn't have to tell people how to, but you turn it one way, the shower overhead comes on, then it comes out of to fill the tub, and then you've got a handheld thing. It's coming out of that. It was crazy.
What I would say is though, all 3 water exit points were very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah. Well, the beds were amazing. So
yeah,
that's what I cared about. But so what's next at Dundonald? Is there anything upcoming, any enhancements or any new developments we should know about?
The golf course is kind of settled. So as we know, the golf course doesn't need open heart surgery. It's conditioning. It's making what we've got just be better. There'll be some winter works on of enhancing and maybe lifting a couple of bunkers just where over time you need to lift them so that you can see them a bit more from the tee or for your approach shot. Kyle paid us a visit a couple of months ago and a little bit of work to some more pathways and adding a little bit more irrigation into the pathways. Maybe some big tees, simple changes which ultimately help the green team to be a bit more efficient.
Yeah.
Why have a big tee on a par 5 where you're only going to hit driver? Let's kind of reduce the size of that teeing area and maybe just change a cutting plan.
Yeah.
Simple changes, really. Then obviously we're really looking forward to final Open qualifying next year, and the Open being at Troon, which 2024 for us is already looking crazy busy.
Yeah, I was going to say you must almost be fully subscribed for next year with the Open being there. Certainly around that time.
Yeah,
you guys are going to be extremely busy. So I know that it goes without saying that Dundonald is your favorite links in Scotland, but other than beyond Dundonald, what would you say is your favorite course in Scotland?
Can I give you 3?
Sure.
Number 1 for experience, condition, and I played this golf course twice in the worst conditions I've ever experienced in my time in golf. And that number 1 was Ardfin on the Isle of Jura. We played the Macri first, and then we hopped over from Isla onto Jura and was lucky enough to play Ardfin. And for me, to still come off 3 years later and say that it's probably my number 1 with the conditions that we played in, I think just pays testament to how good that golf course is. Castle Stewart up in Inverness.
Yeah.
Played that a few times.
Now known as Cabot Highlands.
Every time I play that, it grows on me. But I also really like in the same area, and it's on the same road of a Pro-Am event that we play each year, Nairn Golf Club.
Yeah.
Which I personally really like. It suits my eye for some reason.
Yeah.
Love the views, love the first 5 or 6 holes. with the water next to you, and really like that. And then also Panmure.
Yeah. We're going to have them on the podcast soon too. But I want to, so you would go Dundonald, Ardfin, and then down the list. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all wonderful golf courses. And the next time you're up in Nairn, just let me know. You can play as my guest at Murray. You have to play there. It's fantastic. It's been voted as having the best closing hole in golf. The 18th is unreal. I mean, I think two of my favorite holes in Scotland are the first at Machrihanish and the 18th at Murray. I mean, I throw other ones in there. I haven't played Dundonald, but postage stamp at Troon and 17 at St. Andrews and, the road hole. I mean, there are just so many wonderful holes. But, you mentioned, of course, Panmure, which most Americans have never heard of, unless they're big fans of Ben Hogan. And they would know about Panmure if they were fans of his. But when you look at courses like, I keep saying this, Murray, but up in that area, Fortrose and Rosemarkie, which you can see across the water from, it's on the Black Isle across from Cabot Highlands or Castle Stewart. It's fantastic. I mean, there's just too much good golf to.
So many hidden gems.
Yeah, we call them diamonds in the rough.
I mean, when I played Panmure for the first time, it was an organised trip with pals, and we played Panmure, Montefief, Montrose, and Carnoustie. What a trip that was!
Yeah, well, we've got Montefief in the podcast next week as well. But I saw that Montrose is having some issues with erosion. Have you heard about that?
No, I haven't. No.
Yeah. Yeah, they're having a terrible time. I guess they call them the Easterlies have battered their coastline. I mean, Carnoustie's been flooded several times because of that. But
yeah. Well, I missed my game there at the recent event we were at. I was looking forward to that. I've got to get up to Aberdeen, an area that I've never been up to, but I want to do that little tour to play those courses up there. Just look.
Yeah, Mercer, Royal Aberdeen, Cruden Bay, Peterhead, Fraserburgh, all fantastic. Yeah, you got to play all
of for choice.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let me ask another question. You mentioned, we talked about the courses you'd like to play in Scotland, or the ones that are your favorite. What course would you most like to play in the world that you haven't?
I've never played golf in Ireland, which is quite strange with it only been an hour on the plane or an hour and a half. I'd love to play Royal County Down. And then something about Bandon Dunes just wants me to go play Bandon Dunes.
Yeah.
And probably Pebble. But then I've been looking around the last few weeks, and some of the courses I've seen in New Zealand, which I'll probably never get the chance to go play, look incredible. And some of the ones in Australia just look crazy. But I think my bucket list at the minute is Royal County Down and Bandon.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should have, I think what you should do is go to New Zealand and Australia with Darwin Escapes, looking for your next facility to buy. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, a good friend of mine who's general manager at Loch Lomond, he's actually going over to, he's got a job out in Australia. So that may be if I can get it past the wife. Australia is not like me saying I'm going to Portugal for a few days with the lads.
Right.
It might be a family trip, that one.
Yeah. Okay, so I have another question. What 4 people, living or dead, would make up your dream foursome, and where would you play? So you and 3 people. You're going to pick 3 people to play with.
I'm going to have another 2 or 3 goes at this. So my first one is, who got me into golf, or who did I grow up in golf? So it'd be Tiger, Sergio Garcia, and Rory McIlroy.
Okay.
I don't think, for me, I can. Obviously, I'd love to play with Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, and the rest, but I didn't actually grow up in golf taking too much, not taking too much notice of them, but the people who I wanted to be when I was a junior, number one was Tiger. My favorite golfer back then was Sergio Garcia.
Yeah.
And then obviously growing up and as in my time, Rory. So that'd be one of my first four balls. And then probably one of the best games of golf I've ever had was at Loch Lomond last year, with my dad, who just recovered from illness, my brother, and then my godfather, who has sadly passed away not long after that.
Wow.
But his last round of golf was Loch Lomond, 40 points, birdied the last.
Holy cow.
And we started that trip off at Dundonald. We had a great game there. We had a great meal, some great wine, moved up to Loch Lomond, played there, had a great kind of team game, and I've got his scorecard in a drawer next to me now. What a game that was. So that was another great four ball.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, when you play with Sergio, Rory, and Tiger, where would you want to play?
Augusta.
Yeah, that would be, you'd have two champions, and hopefully Rory will get his green jacket, but that's fantastic.
Well, that would be it. That'd be in the last day, 4 balls allowed, and Rory Bird is the last to win his Masters.
Yeah. That'd be fantastic. I've got one last question for you. For someone that's visiting Scotland for the first time, they're playing links golf for the first time, they're coming from North America, what advice do you have for them?
Pack accordingly.
Yep.
And you are going to be in for an unbelievable visit. Do your due diligence on what kind of whiskey you like.
Good
or
point.
Try a lot of them. And take it all in. I'm sure it'd be the same if we came over to your neck of the woods, to kind of understand. If you come into St Andrews, go for a walk around the town. If you come into our side, go into the clubhouse at Troon and read the history.
Yeah.
Go see Prestwick and do the Prestwick experience. The lunch at Prestwick is 5-star. Yeah. And then enjoy the accommodation at Dundonald.
Yeah.
But no, anybody coming over to Scotland is going to be spoilt. Hopefully the weather plays ball, but I do always say to anybody who I speak to from your side, you've got to hopefully want to have a little bit of wind and rain. You've got to play it as it should be played up there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you've given some great advice. I think, you're the first person that said do some due diligence on, the whiskeys, right? Because that's a great idea. I mean, one of the things I talked to you before we went on the air again about how we like to do things to make the experience off the course extremely memorable, even unforgettable. And so we do whiskey tasting experiences and distillery tours. And I agree wholeheartedly. Now, before we go, I do have to remind you that sadly, Man U's going to lose tomorrow to Luton Town. I don't think they've got a chance in hell. No, I'm just kidding. Luton Town's playing well, by the way.
It's as a Manchester United fan, it is not a good time.
Yeah.
An even worse a time that Leeds United are doing even better in the league below us.
Yeah.
But there we go.
Well, I was watching a game last weekend, Liverpool at Luton Town, and I didn't even realize that because the season's kind of young, that Luton Town had come up, and their pitch, I thought it was an FA Cup game where Liverpool was playing, like a third division team, right? I mean, because the grounds are so small, they only have 11,000 seats there.
Yeah, correct.
So, well, I do hope that Man U comes back, gets back to their former.
We will.
Yeah,
Just don't
well,
know when.
just bring Sir Alex back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
Be a
hey,
caddy for me in the 4-ball.
yeah, there, yeah, yeah, because you want an 85-year-old caddy, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, Ashley, it's been a pleasure having you. It was a wonderful conversation. Thanks so much for investing your time
Thank you.
with us today, and good luck at Dundonald.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again for tuning in to the Travel Rolly podcast. We really hope you enjoyed that history lesson. If you did enjoy, please hit the like button. Share this video with your friends and family, and we will see you next time. Thank you.